welcome to the Open Mic Diary. My name is Indra Adele, and you have just stepped into a safe space. Just like in a diary entry, in this space, I am free to be my most authentic self, be vulnerable and honest about my feelings and emotions, and give you a front row seat to my various life experiences, my challenges, my victories, ups, downs, laughter, tears, and everything in between. Um, I'm turning my healing journey into our healing journey. And honestly, this is not your traditional podcast. This space is free flowing, hence the name Open Mic Diary. So expect anything. If you have not already, please go listen to the Allow Me to Introduce Myself episode so you have more context to me and the style of this podcast. Episodes, for the most part, will be uploaded in batches, but outside of that, I may decide to spontaneously upload episodes individually. So please make sure that you follow, subscribe, and have your notifications on so that you will always know when I post a new episode. I pray that my authenticity and my vulnerability in this episode blesses you in some way. Okay, so the last few days have been very reflective for me. I've just been thinking a lot about just where I want to go next, internally. My last entry, I talked about, just being resilient, letting go of perfection and, just some of my challenges emotionally and mentally lately have really caused me to just rethink just how I'm navigating certain parts of my life, and really trying to tune in and be brave enough to ask myself, like, what is it that I really need right now? Like, if there were no limitations, no reasons, no obstacles, right? Like, what would I give myself right now? What would I give myself permission to do or feel or say right now? And just, I think in that process of exploration, I've realized that I am very much still in a place where I need rest, like internal rest and literal rest. I realized that I haven't really known rest in a full form. Like, for so much of my life, I've not been in a calm state internally, a rested state internally. For so much of my life, I've operated from a place of survival. And sure, I've had periods where I wasn't doing that, right? But for a lot of it, I was. And so I think that I sort of forgot that just because I've been doing so much better overall lately, that in the grand scheme of my life, right, like just the new found progress, like, and rest that I've progressed into over the last 6 to 9 months, right, like minus the recent weeks of what's been going on. It's a progression. Like, I haven't quite fully gotten it, right? But in contrast to what it was before, it's a huge progression. And I kind of forgot that, like, look, this is new. Like, you've really only been here recently, and the last time you were here was a long time ago, right? And so I feel like incrementally I've experienced just progress in getting to a certain place of peace internally. But my life has somehow managed to um, find its way into these traumatic encounters, situations, circumstances that have taken over a large portion of my life. And so when I think about the times where I was the most happiest, most at peace, most content, most free, and what that looked like and what that felt like, there's certain components that were in my life, just um, a lack of concern for how other people are experiencing me. Just really focused on being versus doing, really focused on just being present with myself, like really actually being in my body. Like, I know that sounds so just like matter of fact, but like that is a huge issue for me because of my traumatic past. Like, it is very easy for me to live outside of my body, to be kind of dissociating through life and being very disconnected. I can be in a state of, I can be disconnected from myself. I can be in that state of disconnection and still give off the impression I'm connected because of how much I've studied myself and how much knowledge I have about myself. I can still give the illusion that I am that I am connected because of how self-aware and observant I am. But I've been realizing that there's a difference between knowledge about myself, being self-aware about myself, having studied myself, and just really knowing myself in and out fairly well, versus actually like being able to be with myself and understand myself and comprehend myself, right? Like, you can know something about somebody, but that doesn't mean that you have a relationship with them. And so I'm in this process of actually just growing this relationship with myself. And it's not that I never had a relationship with myself at all. It just lacked depth. And I think I was oblivious to it. I think I was oblivious to just the difference, again, from knowing and being, and just that intimate actual connection versus intimate knowledge. And so just bonding with myself, right? Like, it's something that I used to do so often and really fell off from that over the last several years. And I've been trying to get back to that, right? Something I used to do to connect with myself and connect with God is I would take these, like, I would call them dates with God. And I would go somewhere that was kind of off the grid, right? Like to the mountains, just somewhere that was in nature, right? And for like an entire day, and just disconnect and just be with nature, not be on my phone and social media, like really just be with myself and the silence. That's not really silence because nature does have sound and music, right? But just to be and get grounded. And some of the happiest times in my life, the most content and truly peaceful times in my life looked like that, had those types of components, right? And I realized I need to prioritize that again. I definitely prioritize being outside, right? And being in nature, right? But not so much in a secluded way that's extended, right? I mean, with young kids, sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do unless they go with you, which, it's a completely different experience. It's still great. It's just not the same. And so, yeah, like I've just really been craving that. I've really been craving just extended time, just unplugged and disconnected and in nature, and just regrounding myself. Slowing down is a huge need for me right now. Finding ways to slow down my life, which is easier said than done because, I got things to do. I got things I need to do, things I need to handle, things I'm responsible for. It's not like I can just be like, well, taking a week to just, go frolic in the wilderness and just not think about anything and have not a care in the world, right? Like that's not real life for me. But I can find a way. I can get creative and find a way to get that time, even if it's just for a day. And I find that my body really wants that right now, really wants to experience that, really wants to become more synchronized with the slow pace of nature. I was sitting in a park the other evening. I was in my car, but I was parked and I was like watching the sunset. And, this particular evening, the kids were with their dad and I had some time to myself. And so I was just sitting there, just being, watching the sunset. And I was intentionally trying to tune into just the earth around me and what it was doing. And, when you're just busy with the day to day and the ins and outs of life and you're doing things, even if you're outside, but you're what you're focused on is, maybe just what you're doing. Maybe you're focused on that you're walking or that you're talking with someone or you're playing with your kids, or maybe you're just trying to enjoy the breeze or whatever, right? But going that extra step to like really try to be with what's happening with the earth, what's happening with nature, right? Like really kind of leaving yourself for a bit and just being with that. Like one of the first things that was so profoundly beautiful to me was just how unrushed the earth is. Like just the pace of nature is very unhurried. I don't even know if unrushed and unhurried are actual words, but they are today. But just, it's not that it's slow necessarily, but it is slowed down compared to just the pace of my life. Like when I compare the pace of my life to the pace of the earth and the pace of nature, it's such a contrast, right? There's a peace, there's a confidence about it. Like there's no concern, there's no worry, right? There's just being. There's just being. It's just an experience. It's just kind of there's a presentness about it. Like there's no focus on tomorrow or yesterday. It's just now. And everything is taken care of. Everything is provided for. Everything is okay. Like there's so much love that I felt, right? Like so much peace and just solace and comfort and freedom. Like there's so much freedom because there's no worry, there's no anxiety, it's just unbothered. And I found myself really wanting to just like take that with me and not leave it behind in that moment. Because man, I need that right now, right? Like if I could adopt the pace and the rhythm of nature and somehow allow it to be integrated with me internally and just how I navigate my life, like even if the pace around me doesn't match, but internally I have that pace, like you can just be peaceful, like, and just be good regardless of what's happening around you. Even if you experience like a difficult emotion, you're able to just kind of be with it and allow it not hurry it, not judge it, but embrace it, even though it doesn't feel good, but there's an okayness about it. I'm just making up all kinds of words today. There's an okayness about it, right? It's like okay, like I'm sad and this sucks, but like okay, like that's what it is right now. Like let's just be with that. It's cool. Versus like I ain't got time for that. Let's move on to the let's get happy, right? Let's find a way to just like move on and feel good real quick. And just totally disregard like that experience, or allow it to mean something that it's not. Allow it to mean something bad, and then it creates anxiety, or because there's a judgment about that feeling, right? Like, okay, well, I shouldn't feel this way. And so then you're anxious about all that comes with that, right? And it's just like, okay, what if it's just an experience, it's just a feeling? What if everything was like permissible and there was just no judgment? That you just be with any experience, whether it's my own experience or someone else's experience. Like, what if I could just be with that and be okay with it and not feel the need to control it or have dominion over it? Like, just a permission for just me to just be and for other people to just be. Sure, there's a process of like expected evolution and growth and all of that, right? But like, there's also so much power I'm realizing in just being able to be present in what is, even though there's an expectation in what's to come. And so I'm learning to be okay with what is while still having an expectation of what's to come. I'm finding that I really need to learn how to rest in the now, even if it's uncomfortable and even if there are things about it that I don't like. But I don't have to make it mean all of these other things. And then it creates anxiety and all of these other disruptive experiences internally. Just how can I rest in what's true while still have an expectation of what's to come, still focus and progress in the future, right? Into the goal of whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve, right? It's like I can still move towards what I desire while resting in what is. Like, that's the tension I'm trying to hold right now, because I have a hard time with that. I get so disturbed with what is, if what is a problem for me in some way, shape, or form. And I'm trying to change my perspective so that it's not a problem. I may not like it. I may have difficult emotions around it and all of that, but it's like, what if it was okay that everything that is right now is? Like, what if that was okay? What if it wasn't a problem? What if I didn't have to be angry about it or depressed about it or anxious about it? Or what if it was just all okay? And I could move towards what's important. I can move towards what I desire. I can use all of my energy to move towards what I'm trying to create and what I desire. And I know that's like easier said than done, right? And some of this is subconscious. Like, it's not like I'm all the time just sitting here like, worrying about everything. That's very much not the case. It's almost like a rewiring that has to take place because I've developed these tendencies, and so I've adopted them habitually, and so they're subconscious, right? Sometimes I don't even know that I'm doing it until I see the manifestation of it in the anxiousness and the whatever, right? And sure, some of these things are brain reactions because of trauma, and sure, like certain experiences when exposed to them for prolonged periods or repeatedly, it can really disrupt the natural communication that takes place in the brain. And so there is some actual, like, real things that are taking place there for me that I have to heal. It's not just all in my head type of thing. So there is a component that I can control from a day to day. And then there's a component that I have to kind of go in and heal, right? Like go in and replace, reprogram, unlearn, undo. Like there's a healing that has to take place in a, from a deeper place, right? But then there's also just actionable things that I can make a shift in. There's perspective changes, reframing, like all of that is part of it too. And so right now I find that I'm just learning how to reframe things so that I can experience it differently. Because again, I'm all about just my nervous system healing right now. And anything that aligns with that, I am like, let's go, let's do it. Because that is my focus right now, is healing my nervous system and intentionally creating rest for my nervous system, intentionally creating positive experiences, under stimulation for my nervous system, intentionally creating an environment for my nervous system so that it can rest and recover. So anything that aligns with that intention, is helpful for me right now. Even if it looks extreme or dramatic from the outside looking in, I really don't care. I could care less at this point. It's like, oh, well, do you really need to like do that? Yeah, you know what? I do. Because I truly don't desire to navigate the rest of my life having panic attacks and anxiety attacks and struggling with depression and stuff. Like, I truly don't desire for all of my past experiences to define the rest of my life. Because yeah, they happened, and yeah, they sucked, and yeah, they had implications on me and real effects on me that I am living with right now as I speak. Yeah, all that is very real. And I am determined to heal that. Again, because it's not the first time I've had to do it. Like, I'm not in this place where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to learn how to navigate the rest of my life with this thing. Because, and hey, there's no judgment for the people that choose to do that. There are people that are perfectly okay with learning how to work around their panic and anxiety and all of the stuff. They're willing to find a way to integrate it into their life and learn to thrive and make it work and all of that. I don't desire that. I desire to leave it behind. Now, sure, in the meantime, I do need to, I'm working to figure out how to navigate life in the midst of it, right? But ultimately, my goal is healing, and I believe that it's possible. 1, because all things are possible with God, and 2, because I've done it before. So, I'm willing to go to extremes for my healing. I'm willing to remove myself from certain environments for the sake of my healing. I'm willing to stop talking to certain people for the sake of my healing, if I desire to do that. I'm willing to adjust even just how I navigate my life. I'm willing to adjust my daily schedule. I'm really willing to adjust my habits, my eating. I'm willing to detox and fast, which is something else that I'm maybe talk about in a different episode, but something that I'm entering into is just detoxing for my mental health and for my body, to also help my body enter into this deep state of rest and rejuvenation. I'm willing to do that. It's super inconvenient, right? With kids and the ins and outs of my life, it's super inconvenient. Especially like if you want to like do juicing and stuff like that, who got time for that? But I'm going to create the time. Why? Because I'm willing to do it for my healing. I'm willing to isolate myself for a few days so that I can get grounded for my healing.
I'm willing to have my kids stay with their dad for an extended period of time, maybe longer than they normally would, because I need to do it for my healing. And just getting to a place where I don't feel guilty about that. Because I can't even say that I fully don't. There's part of me that's like, man, I feel like I'm failing them as a mother if I need to do that. But that's a lie. That's part of the reframing and the perspective change that I'm trying to adopt. It's like, how does that actually make me a bad mother? It's not like I moved to Antarctica and abandoned my children. Like, me taking time to myself for a few days makes me a bad, like, doesn't even make any sense. But it's guilt that comes from a place of dysfunction because I'm used to putting other people above myself for so much of my life that it's become normal. And so then when I try to prioritize myself now, there's guilt there. But that guilt doesn't come from a place of truth. It comes from a lie that I've allowed other people to reinforce in me because of how they treated me for so much of my life. So I'm rewriting that story for myself so I can embrace a new truth. And that's, you know what? Whatever I need right now is what I need right now. And it makes me a better person, a better individual, and a better mother. And that's setting an example for my children. That nothing is worth sacrificing yourself to the point of falling apart from the inside out, losing your health. Prioritizing well-being is something that I really want my kids to get. And like, what better way than me being an example to that? And what are they losing by spending extended time with their father? Right? No, they're gaining. They're gaining because I'm not leaving them, with a wolf in the woods somewhere, right? And so that's all part of the reprogramming for me and creating what I actually desire and being willing to do whatever it takes, even if it looks a certain way to the outside world, right? It's like there's certain types of work that are in my line of work that I'm not taking on right now because it doesn't align with my healing right now. It might require a certain capacity of me that I actually need for myself right now. And I don't have it in overflow or in excess to give it to myself and to others right now in this season. Hasn't always been that way, won't always be that way. But right now in this season, I'm just like trying to be honest with myself. What do I need? What does Indra need? And am I willing to give it to her? Am I willing to give it to me? And so, yeah, I entering into a season, I have a friend that makes fun of me every time I say season. Supposedly, I use that word a lot. And so now I laugh every time I say it because it makes me think of that. But I do feel like I'm entering into a season where, man, I need to show up for me the way I've shown up for so many other people throughout my life. Like, I need her right now. And I'm giving myself permission to do that. I need people to, like, my very small support system. Boy, do I need them too right now. But I also need me. And leaning into being more than I am doing. Yes, there are things that I legit need to do. But leaning into being present in my body, leaning into rest, leaning into peace, leaning into slowing down, even just being aware of my breathing. Am I breathing fast? And if I am, can I slow it down intentionally? Because that's all part of the internal experience, right? Like sometimes we don't even realize that we're thriving in anxiety, shallow breaths, fast breathing, like just pausing and intentionally taking like a deep breath in and out a few times. It's like, man, that's probably more oxygen than my body's received all day. Because I've just been going internally. Even if externally I'm not moving at a fast pace and I'm sitting at a computer, what's the internal experience? Like being aware of that. So getting grounded, aligning with God's creation. There's so much wisdom in nature. It's unbelievable. And I think I briefly forgot that. And I'm trying to tap back into that. So, I think I'm gonna wrap up and go do some journaling and reflection before I accomplish some tasks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to really leaning into this new space that I'm trying to enter into internally.